Glad to know you're still with us. We begin the show with the analysis of the Nigeria equities market at the close of Wednesday's trading session. Bearish sentiments persisted in the local bourse for the third straight session as sell-offs in Okomu oil caused a 3 barrels per day, 3 basic points decline in the benchmark index. Thus, the oil share index settled at 52,974.15 points. Consequently, the year-to-date gain moderated to 24.0%. The total volume of trades declined by 7.2% to 295.35 million units, valued at 3.59 billion naira and exchanged in 4,637 deals. Transcorp was the most traded stock by volume at 121.84 million units, while Airtel Africa was the most traded stock by value at 573.23 million naira. Performance across our sectoral coverage was broadly negative as the insurance had minus 0.5%, banking had minus 0.3%, and oil and gas had minus 0.2%. Indices declined, while the consumer goods had plus 0.1% index. It was the sole gainer. The industrial goods index was flat. As measured by market breadth, market sentiment was negative, that's 0.7 times, as 19 tickers lost relative to 13 gainers. Okomu oil by minus 10% and NCR by minus 9.8% topped the losers list, while Utana had plus 9.9% and FGN Cocoa had plus 9.4%, recorded the most significant gains of the day. And now we are joined by Olaide Banu, a research analyst with Atlas Portfolio Limited. Hello, Olaide. Good to have you join us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. All right, we're looking at the bearish sentiments that persisted in the local bourse for the third straight session, as we also saw sell-offs in Okomu oil, causing a 3 basis point decline in the benchmark index. Now, give us a sense of activities in the market yesterday.
Yesterday, the markets extended the negative sentiment to the third consecutive trading sessions, as you said, and this has been impacted by the investors' profit taking in the bellwether stocks like the Okomu, the MTN, and so on. But that of yesterday was largely driven by Okomu and the Wema Bank, Less Flour Mill, and Honey Flour also. So the investors continue to seek safe haven in the fixed income environment. And if you notice, for the 364 Treasury bill rates, when the CBN announced the tightening of the NPR to 13%, it was around 4.7%, but as at yesterday, it was around 6%. So investors have been seeking safe haven in the fixed income environment, and while they continue to have profit taken in the equity market. And I believe this is going to extend at least for the rest of, possibly for the rest of the week, except there is kind of investors' positive sentiment towards some other bellwether stocks. And majority of the stocks gaining so far this week has been on small capitalized stocks. So small cap stocks have been the one taking a positive, making positive return to the investors in the markets now.
All right, now the ASI, that's the oil share index, settled at 52,974.15 points. And then consequently, the year-to-date gain moderated to plus 24.0%. This is quite impressive. And then we're looking at the sustainability of this particular level of growth.
Yeah, the year-to-date that rose above 20% gain this year has been the resilience of the Nigeria equity market. And over the last year and 2020 also, the prices of Nigeria stocks have been probably on the moderate price and even more very cheap for investors to come into the market. So this and looking at the financials of majority of these companies listed on the exchange, they're having positive an impressive positive financial year. So this has created a positive sentiment to the investors. If despite the pre-election year, that's like, okay, yes, majority of the time it has been like, okay, a bearish sentiment for the market. But this particular year, it has been driven by the low price of the listed stocks and then the financial report of the listed companies.
All right, we're looking at Transcorp now. It was the most traded stock by volume, and it had 121.84.
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Hello?
Okay, Olaide, can you hear me? I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, now we're looking at,
So,
oh, please go ahead.
so the positive performance has been driven by the low price in the market, as I said, and then the positive financial results by the listed company.
All right, let's look at Transcorp now. It was the most traded stock by volume. It had 121.84 million units. But then we also had...
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello?
Yes, I was talking about Transcorp having the most traded stock by volume at 121.84 million units. And then we also had Airtel Africa, which was the most traded stock by value at 573.23 million naira. What's driving this sentiment?
Hello?
Okay, yes, I was talking about Airtel and I was also talking about Transcorp. Transcorp was the most traded stock in terms of... Can you hear me now? All right, we're speaking with Olaide Banu, a research analyst with Atlas Portfolio Limited. I guess we're having a challenge communicating. We'll take a quick break now, and when we return, we'll continue from here. Stay with us. Welcome back. We've been speaking with Olaide Banu, research analyst with Atlas Portfolio Limited. Please confirm to me that you can hear me now.
Yeah, hello, I can hear you now.
All right, before we went on that break, we're talking about Transcorp and Airtel Africa. First, we were able to establish that Transcorp was the most traded stock by volume, and that was about 121.84 million units. And then we also had Airtel Africa, which was the most traded stock by value at 573.23 million naira. So we're looking at what exactly is driving this sentiment.
Over the past few weeks, Transcorp has been on the top 5 of the most traded stocks traded by volume, and this has been following the investors' continued persistent positive sentiments towards Transcorp. And if you look at for over the past few months, about 2 months ago, Transcorp was trading about less than 1 naira, but now it's trading above 1 naira, which is around 1 naira 30 kobo. So the persistent increase in the investors' positive sentiment, which is driving the what we call the Transcorp. And also looking at Airtel Africa, if you look at the price itself, the price is definitely, if there are much of volume, the price is definitely going to increase the value of stock on the on Airtel Africa. And last week, the Airtel Africa was it was even the stock that drove the market into a positive sentiment throughout last week, despite the much of sell-off sentiment, majority of the stocks. So there this sell down on the Airtel Africa PLC and little volume that is being traded on it. So compared to the price, that's why the Airtel Africa is listing the table in terms of value traded.
All right, let's take a look at the performance across the sectoral coverage. For example, it was broadly negative. We had insurance declining by 0.5%, banking declined by 0.3%, and then for oil and gas, it was down by 0.2%. Why do we have this record?
For the oil and gas, there were profit taking around Okomu Oil and then Ohando PLC, Japan Gold. So that's why for the oil and gas sector was on a bearish sentiment. And if you look at other sectors like the banking and the insurance sector, there are much of sell-off on that part also, which I've said earlier that investors are seeking a safe haven in other investment assets like the fixed income environment. And looking at the industrial companies like the likes of WAPCO, which actually depreciated, and then looking at Unilever PLC depreciating. So this, as a result of the sell-off in all this particular sector, compared to what we have in the consumer goods sector that grew by about 0.09%.
All right, let's take a look at another sector now, the consumer goods. It was the sole gainer yesterday. That was Wednesday because it jumped by 0.1%. And we also look at industrial goods index, which was flat. Can you tell us more about this particular sentiment?
Yeah, on this particular sentiment for this consumer goods sector being the sole sector grew by 0.09% was driven by the likes of the FTN cocoa, the boer food, it's essentially the boer food itself. And over the past weeks, over the past month, the boer food has remained about 57 naira 90 kobo. Except that yesterday that is grew by 3.11%. And this positive sentiment alone in the boer food companies enough to drive the consumer goods sector.
All right, let's take a look at Itana and FTN Cocoa, which you already talked about. They both went up by, for Itana, it went up by 9.9%, and then for FTN Cocoa, it went up by 9.4%. And they recorded the most significant gains of the day. What's the support level here? I know you already started with FTN Cocoa, so just go ahead.
Yeah, I said it earlier that the investors are looking into small capitalized stocks for another opportunity in the equity market to have their positive return from it. So it's expected that there are some majority of these small capitalized stocks will be having some kind of positive sentiment day in, day out towards the equity, towards the investors' return.
All right, in closing, Olaide, what's the expectation for today? What's the outlook for today?
For today, actually, I would say the day is still very young. It's still just about less than an hour of trading, but I'm expecting the negative sentiment to continue for this week as investors continue to weigh, especially the fund managers continue to weigh in their options, looking at either to go into the equity, to stay at the equity market, or to even go into the fixed income environment.
All right, thank you so much, Olaide Banu, for your time on the show.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
All right, we've been speaking with Olaide Banu, research analyst with Atlas Portfolio Limited. We'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll bring you more stories. Stay with us.